So yesterday I heard a lot of disturbing news. What happened to Trump was predictable, but still disturbing. Um, the lies Vigano said about Pope Francis was disturbing, but predictable. And I'm going to talk about both of those things over the weekend. But I only got a short time between stops this morning. And I felt led to talk about the 14 martyr saints in Africa. Pope Francis, in the middle of his homily, I guess, yesterday, thank God for these 14 martyr saints. And in the words of Pope Francis, these Catholics had their throats slit for refusing to convert to Islam, for refusing to renounce Christ. There are martyr saints every day, Catholics being martyred, getting their throats slit every day in Africa for refusing to convert to Islam. This is going on every day. And I want to thank God for these saints, for these martyrs, for their testimony of faith, just like the apostles who went to their death not converting to paganism. They refuse to denounce Christ. And, it just reminds me of the promises we hear in the Bible. St. Paul told the Romans, the sufferings of this world are not worthy to compare to what the Lord has prepared for us. He tells the Corinthians, no eye has seen, no ear has heard, and no mind can conceive what the Lord has prepared for us who love him. So these martyr saints remind us that this world is temporary. The troubles we're going through, the sicknesses, the diseases, the tribulation, just temporary, And kind of on a side note, when I hear these guys like Kennedy Hall mocking these African Christians because they don't do the TLM, they actually dance and believe in speaking in tongues and everything else the Bible teaches. King David said, dance before the Lord, play stringed instruments before the Lord. And these African congregations, they take that literally. And St. Paul said, do not forbid speaking in tongues. And they take that literally. And these goofballs like Kennedy Hall, mock these people. He actually had the nerve to say the Novus Order produces no saints. It's like all the saints today are coming from the Novus Ordo Mass in Africa. So thank God for these martyr saints, and stop listening to the negativity on YouTube. Thank God for our faith, and thank God for your suffering, because one day we may be called to be martyrs. And if we lived a soft, comfy life like a lot of these YouTubers do, we might not be ready to give our life to Christ. When boxers train, they train a lot harder in their training. They make their training a lot harder than an actual fight. When Navy SEALs train, they train a lot harder than what they're going to face in battle. And St. Paul said, our faith is like a fight the good fight. Navy SEALs run long, hard runs in the sun. And St. Paul says, run the race, So thank God for your suffering, whether it's a disease, whether it's a sickness, whether it's family issues, whatever it is. Thank God for your suffering, St. Paul says we suffer to receive the comfort of God so we can comfort others in their suffering. Thank God for the martyr saints. And ask the Lord to help you, and me too, that we can be saints, that we would have the faith of these martyrs in Africa that just died this other day, 14 of them with their throats slit, with knives at their throat. All they had to do was say they're no longer Christians. All they had to do was convert to Islam. And instead they chose to get their throats slit. I pray that we all have this faith, that we all have this courage. And the church teaches us we can do nothing apart from the grace of God. So if you think like you could teach yourself how to be a martyr saint, then you're as wrong as the Pharisees, who thought by their righteous deeds they could become like God. No, it's the grace of God. Pray to receive his grace. Receive his grace through the sacraments. Go to confession. If you have any anger towards anyone today, any unforgiveness, any fear, any doubts, this is all sin. Confess it and be filled with the grace of God. Until next time, stay Catholic.